Thanks for joining us today. Last week, we talked about how to get your business set up. And I hope you guys got everything started and are ready for what we're going to talk about today is how to get your first job. Plus, we're going to go over a trash out you won't want to miss, some more about national and regional companies, a special tool of the week segment, and much more. Now, let me turn it over to Brian and Mary. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Brian. I'm owner of Elite Preservation here in Pennsylvania.
Hi, my name is Mary. I am owner of Steel Preservation, also here in Pennsylvania.
So, Brian, tell me about this incredible, I guess you want to say, or amazing trash out we wanted, the beer house.
Yeah, so this was a wonderful eviction. We got a order down. Evictions are one of those good and bad things of the industry. An eviction is a necessary tool that the bank uses to regain possession of the property. So that way it can move forward with dealing with the situation and then finally reselling the property. Evictions are interesting because you do have a lot of emotion into these. A lot of them, they actually are there. Some of those properties, the people were there just this morning. In fact, actually, that particular one, we found out after the fact from one of the neighbors, the gentleman was actually in the home literally an hour before we showed up with the sheriff. But evictions are tricky. I'm going to turn this over to Mary for a hot minute so she can explain some of the back office stuff, the procedures and things that are needed to deal with the eviction properly, safely, and legally.
So when it comes to evictions, there are different steps that you have to take to make sure that it goes smoothly. When you receive an eviction order from one of your clients, it will usually have a date and time. One of the first things that you are going to want to do when you receive an eviction order, you are going to want to call the local sheriff, whatever township, borough you are in, you're going to want to call the sheriff's office, and you are going to want to confirm that that eviction is actually scheduled for that day and that time. That's very important before you move forward with anything. After you talk to the sheriff's office and after they confirm that it is set up, it is scheduled, there is a series of events that you have to go through. First of all, you have to figure out what requirements the sheriff's office requires. Sometimes they want you to have bonded movers. Sometimes they need you to have a locksmith. There's different requirements. Each sheriff's office is different. Each client is different. Now, if you do have to have bonded movers, we haven't really dealt with that too much, needing bonded movers. But you will have to get in touch if you don't have any within your company. You will have to hire bonded movers. Some evictions require you need to have 5 bonded movers. You need to have 7 bonded movers. So make sure that you're reading your work orders and communicating with your client on what exactly is needed. Here in Pennsylvania, most of our orders, that's not really a requirement through the different sheriff's office. So you have to kind of coordinate between the sheriff's office and your client to make sure you're doing it step by step the way that you need to. You do have to hire a locksmith. So that way, when you show up on site and the sheriff has determined that the property is vacant and nobody is in the home, the locksmith can go ahead and change the lock on the front door. So some other requirements that you need, you are going to need storage units. You need to find out from the sheriff's office as well as your client if they require you to store all the personals off-site or if you can store them on-site. If you store them on-site, you don't have to do anything for 30 days. Everything has to be stored for 30 days. If they require it to be stored off-site, you need to reserve the storage unit. And when you reserve a storage unit, you also need to double check that they have more than one available because as you are doing the eviction process, you may need more than one. And you need to be able to reserve it the day that you're doing the eviction. So always make sure that you find somewhere close and has more than one unit. Also, if you are storing off-site, you will have to buy different supplies. You will need to buy boxes and tape. Everything has to be packed up neatly and nicely. You will get rid of all the trash. That can be put in your dump trailer, in your dumpster, whatever you have for that. We do not store the trash, only personals. But it does have to be done very nicely and neatly, because within that 30 days, the homeowner may come and claim that stuff. They may still want whatever you have in that storage unit. So after you pack everything up and you take it to the storage unit, they will have 30 days to claim their personals. If they do claim their personals, you will have to go through the steps of meeting up with the homeowner and switching the units over into their names. So that way they're the ones paying for it. The stuff is back in their possession. However, after 30 days, if they do not claim that storage unit or whatever is in it, your client will send you a trash out order, and you will have to clean out the storage unit, and then everything goes to the dump. So this is definitely a multi-stage, multi-step kind of order. And you just have to make sure that you are doing it step by step and make sure that you are figuring out what the requirements of the sheriff's office and the client, what they want, what they need.
It sounds so easy when you speak it. There are a lot of complex moving parts in this whole procedure.
Yeah, it's definitely not a 10-minute phone call. It definitely takes time to set up an eviction.
One thing during the eviction process, you mentioned homeowners coming back and reclaiming their stuff.
Yes.
Evictions are used, once again, for whatever reason, whatever circumstances are there. There's no judgment. It's just things happen to people in life that we can't control. Our industry, again, is driven by the 4 Ds: death, disease, divorce, disaster. And as I said, sometimes people abandon the properties and the banks wait until a certain period of sheriff's sale, and then they regain the properties. The other tool is like a cash for keys, which we'll speak about later on. And then again, we have an eviction. The other key thing doing so many evictions, and I have done several, is documentation. Because the homeowner coming back into that storage unit, they don't want to see all of their stuff just thrown in, broken and damaged, because now you are liable as the mover. You are liable for the broken this, the broken that. Pictures, 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 and more pictures. Remember the key phrase in our industry: if you don't have a picture, it never happened. It doesn't matter. It never happened. You do not have the proper photographs. And again, we document our livelihood is documentation. We document everything, number one, for liability purposes and getting paid. So if something is broken and it makes sense, take pictures, verify it on site. So that way, when time comes, you can prove, no, this is not my liability. This was already damaged and broken once we got into the site. People will do this. People will try to coerce the situation because they don't like it. And again, in our day and age, everyone loves to sue. And everyone believes that because you have a splinter, somehow it's worth $50 billion. So again, cover your butt, plain and simple. Document. We have software, we have cameras, we have time. Make sure that you document everything, and then twice over again. We did an eviction for an elderly lady, very nice lady. She somehow got wrapped up into a mortgage or deed theft situation. Come to find out that someone had literally switched the deeds, had literally put a mortgage on the property. She never knew about it. It was a side-by-side unit. She lived in one, rented out the other. Come to find out, one day a sheriff comes, knocks on the door. Hi, you own that property? Yeah, we're evicting you. She said, what? And again, the process moved quickly at that point, and she never knew. She didn't have time. So again, she worked her situation out down the road. But again, everything that was in that house, we had to properly box up. We had to tape up. We had to document. And then we took everything into the storage units. And again, she called the client 10 days later. We transferred everything over, gave her the keys, and she emptied that storage unit in accordance. Other times, again, people are already long gone. Nobody cares. Nobody wants any of that stuff. And again, we just load it up and then load it out. With the particular beer can house, as we call it, the eviction basically went out without a hitch. We went into the property. There were some unwanted items, some large stuff that the people couldn't deal with. This was a divorce situation. The gentleman was there at the house. One nice thing about evictions are 90% power's on. Love power being on. But again, we documented everything broken and good. We boxed up everything up. We took everything nice and neat into the storage units. We packed it nice and neat. We took pictures as we were loading the storage unit in stages to show that everything was being handled in a correct and respectful manner. And then again, yes, we took the boxes out. We took the garbage bags out. We took the food out. Remember, if there is a question, store it. Plain and simple. You see something broken, it's okay. Document it, store it. It is better to err on the side of caution. Now, again, the garbage sitting outside, the food that you're seeing in some of these photographs, we know that is garbage. That's trash. But again, some of the items that you might consider junk, the person might be a valuable collection of some kind. So always, please, if you're unsure, pack it up and move it. So here's what we saw as you're seeing on your screen now. You wonder why people lose their house. I want everyone to look at that picture and look at every beer box that's there. Think about that. I don't drink some of these products. So again, $20, $25 a case. You think about that for a minute. How much is there in that garage? That is a double car garage. And that was stacked full, 6 foot tall. And what happened was a gentleman would basically smoke cigarettes and drink beer at the inner door to his garage, and then his garage became his dumpster. It took one of my employees 3 days to literally go through that entire garage. We took a trailer load of just boxes and garbage bags of beer cans out of that. And then we took another trailer load of just beer cans. That's it. I think we got almost $800, $900 worth of aluminum scrap just in that. But again, you see how we are boxing these items up. We're packing them with care, because at the end of the day, I do not want liability. I do not want, you see in that picture there, everything is neatly stacked. We're taking pictures to show the client that we're taking care of these items. We're treating these items with respect. And again, that goes a long way too, as far as your liability concerns when you come back. Because again, you do not want the homeowner filing a claim against your insurance company because the bed frame that was already broken, that was already junk, that you put in storage and you didn't document it. Next thing you know, you're held on the hook. Your insurance is being charged. You have a drama. You have issues. When if you just would have taken a few minutes, it would have made your life simpler. That picture there is all beer cans. That's a 16-foot trailer. That is all beer cans. Nicely, neatly. That is all beer cans. That took 3 boxes of the 50 garbage bags of just beer cans. It is crazy when you think about it. And you wonder why people lose their homes. We all buy stupid stuff in life, and sometimes also we just have a bad moment of life too. But again, think about that for a second. How much money is wrapped up in there? It's stunning sometimes what you find in these houses. It blows your mind what people leave behind, how people treat these homes, and you know, if you want to see life truly, come into the preservation business, because you will see it all.
Yep.
Never miss a step.
The ugly.
Mm-hmm. But again, this one went off pretty easily, pretty well. This was one of those interesting ones that we always talk about in the industry. This happened several years ago. But again, it's always one of those wonderful things. And as Mary talked about too, you don't know what you're getting into these houses. You could pop the lock walk in and it could be nothing, and you sat there and reserved 10 storage units. As Mary said, we always find units, making sure the storage facility. Now, with this particular house, of course, the sheriff's office did not require bonded movers. They just said, show up with some guys, get her done, and we're leaving. The sheriff's office here in Pennsylvania, or at least in our area, is very, very easy, very, very nice to work with. They're very simplistic. They're basically there to serve paperwork, make sure the house is clear, then they leave. If you have any issues, give us a call. They want a locksmith there because, again, they don't want to wait. Because, again, what if someone's barricaded in that house? They're not going to go softly. They're not going to go easily. They want a locksmith to be able to get into the property quickly so they can sweep the property, do their thing, make sure the property is cleared and safe before you may enter in. Biggest thing with evictions, also, stay out of the way. Stay out of the way. Don't be a nuisance. Don't be a problem for the police. You never know what you're getting into. And again, it may be, we've had evictions too, where the house has already been abandoned and the house has already been under preservation at some point. A new client picked up the property, bought that debt from Bank A, and Bank B wanted to cover its butt and do a formal eviction through the process. And also they were really backed up in sheriff's sales. So evictions would be the fastest way to process it. And again, being the person had already vacated the property years ago, the bank also knew no one was going to fight anything, and they could actually regain the property faster than dealing with a sheriff's sale, going through the court system, having, dealing with all the other expenditures. Evictions are nice because 9 times out of 10, if you are billing correctly and billing properly, they can be profitable. You just have to know where you're getting your money from. And as always, document. Because again, with these packages, it's normally store stuff, trash it out, change all the locks, do the winterization, clean this, clean that, clean the refrigerator. So you get many avenues of revenue that you can pick up on as like a already pre-approved factor, because the bank wants that property to be in a situation where they can immediately turn it around and sell it. One problem with this industry is, for some strange reason, which I don't know. Well, actually, I do know, but I don't want to say. Eviction orders always seem to show up 2 days before they're due, and it's on a Friday. So the eviction is scheduled for 8:30 Monday, and they give it to you Friday 3:30. Can you handle it? Can you do it? The eviction's been scheduled for a month. Why am I getting it now?
Yeah, it's not something that they do overnight.
Yeah, and that's one problem.
Do that.
Yeah, you see this so many times where it's, the funny phrase is that you sent me an order tomorrow. We're talking about today that was due yesterday.
Yeah, they like to do that.
And you sent it, and we're going to dive into this a little bit too, is you have so many work orders and you have so many companies, offshore, regionals to be exact, they will go in and grab orders from a client. Oh, hi, we cover Pennsylvania now. What do you got? The client will give them those most obscure orders they can't get anyone to go to. It's not in their network. So they'll hire an offshore. An offshore will drive somebody 45 minutes, an hour. We've had ones where the people were almost 3.5 hours away, and they were getting paid $100 to do a trip charge, and they were going to drive 7 hours that day. It make sense. But like getting back into it, the regionals grab all the work orders. They sit in the queues. They wait, and now the customer, the client, the national is scrambling around trying to find somebody. So again, it's one of the fun parts of our industry. We talk about it today. You're going to assign it to me tomorrow, and it was actually due yesterday.
Yeah. Yep.
Just a little bit of pre-planning would be great. But evictions are fun. We do evictions for certain clients, and we don't do evictions for other clients. It's just preference and choice. Always pay attention to the money. Always pay attention to the money. Photographs. Be prepared for hoarder house. Be prepared for a truckload. Be prepared for a clean one, But getting also another segment which I briefly touched on is called Cash for Keys. This is another situation that kind of works a little bit with, the share of sales, the evictions, and cash for keys is another way that the banks, another tool they utilize to get their properties back. So basically what they do is they have a real estate agent, or even we have done several jobs for cash for keys where we go out and we have already, the bank's already kind of made some agreements and arrangements with the homeowners. We come in, boots on the ground to facilitate it. An example, a homeowner would be paid $5,000, $10,000 to vacate the property, get it clean, get it situated, get it organized, sign the deed over, and have a great life. We facilitated those also. Real estate agents, we find in our area, handle those more. We get those a little bit after that. But again, it's based on different clients, how it all works and what each client prefers. Sometimes our national clients have already worked with the real estate agents to get it situated. And sometimes the right hand doesn't know what the left is doing and the big toe is screaming. So who knows? It's kind of fly by night, which unfortunately is our industry a little bit unprepared. So, but again, the beer can house, as we always call it, is one of those interesting houses that we will probably never ever see again in that capacity. If you want to see the full video, we do have it up on our TikTok page. It's up on our YouTube page. So please check out our video of that one. It's always fun and interesting. But cover your butt. Cover your butt in this industry. Document, and more documentation. So moving a little bit into that, let's talk about some liability issues. Let's talk about, being in our industry, we're kind of like the evil guy. We're kind of the, as I always say too, we're the car repo people of houses. We are there for a reason, and sometimes people don't like us being there because of whatever circumstance or situation that happened in their lives, which is causing us to be there. They feel it is the bank, the evil rich bank's fault. It's your fault for being there, so on and so forth. So how do you, and some people also are out to target you, to target the situation and gain from it. So how do you protect yourself? How do you create a safe, secure situation where your liability is lessened? Body cams, dashboard cams, photographs. We have very basic, very simple body cams. They run for 16 hours. They're rechargeable. They've got a playback screen. They got different things you can utilize. It's got a flashlight, got a laser beam. I think you put some wheels on it, probably drives away. But this is the witness that is with you, runs all the time while you're there. As an employer, it makes sure that the people you have out in the field are doing their job. Also, it keeps everybody honest. So when you go in to do the initial secure and Bob, the homeowner, says, "Oh, yeah, you stole grandma's pearls that are worth $50,000 I left in the house 3 years ago. I was coming back. I just, whatever." This is your witness. This little device, which is $70, $80, will save you energy and time in the long run when it comes to dealing with these situations. It makes sure that your employees aren't stealing. It makes sure that it verifies that. It makes sure any confrontation, any situations there are documented. Your butt is covered. So if you go to court, you have to deal with the situation. There it is. We use these especially on initial secures. These are our highest risk jobs, evictions, and so on and so forth. Always cover your butt. Dash cams, another wonderful thing. Some people see, oh, look, there's a work truck, there's a trailer, oh, there's a business there. They don't know your size. They don't know your capacity. They don't know if you're a one-man show or a 100-man operation. They don't know if you're making $10 a month or you're making $20 million a month. So dash cams are always good in those situations. We all have seen the memes. We've all seen the TikToks and YouTubes of people brake checking, cutting in front of, looking out for a payday. Protect yourself. This industry is risky. So protect yourself at all times, and that's the important part. So, because you never know. Let's talk about your workload. Let's talk about who you're getting your work from. How do you get it? How do you become fortunate to get a national client? Is nationals really worth it? real estate agent, banks, local people. Where do you get that work from? So that's what we're going to touch on for a little bit, some of the do's and don'ts. We talked a little bit on our last live program. We talked about the insurance requirements, the difference in insurance requirements, because again, your national clients are going to require different types of insurance, very specific insurance. A lot of your regionals are more relaxed. They require less and stuff because they already have the insurance built in. So bear in mind what you need to get set up and get organized. With your national clients, everybody wants to work for the nationals, as they say. The price has changed so much in the years we've been in this industry. It is saddening. It's really disheartening. What we saw, 10 years ago in the industry, where HUD, Fannie Mae set their price points was a reasonable price. Regional or the nationals would take their percentage out, and there you go. Slowly over the years, they chipped away at the price point. So what was $50 then is now $30. And by the way, now we're going to take 30% instead of 25%. Yes, you heard that right, people. Mary just experienced that with a wonderful client that now I have a contract with this client and they're charging me 25%. Mary's trying to get situated and set up, and they're charging a 30%. Another individual we know had the same contract, but their prices are older because they've been with that company longer. So they actually have, some of the HUD price points minus 25. How are you getting paid? So Mary, I'll let you, I've talked enough. Mary, I'll let you touch base and talk about some of the national clients and some information on those. I'll let you have fun with that.
So like you said, there are many, 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 many national clients out there, and there are even more regionals. Some of the big ones that if you're in the preservation industry, most of the big ones, we have MCS, we have Safeguard, we have Service Link, Cyprex, Wolverine, NFR, Brookstone, Blackstone, and Fannie Mae. There's many more that are not on the list. But normally these clients do not go looking for vendors. I mean, they do here and there, but it's not so much as us looking for nationals. So in order to get in with these national clients, all of them have websites. You have to go to their website and you have to fill out, they usually have a become vendor portion on their website, and you will have to go in and you will have to fill out information about your company. You will have to, they want to know like what insurance your company has, how many crews your company has, what kind of services do you provide. If you are a smaller company, a 1-2 man operation, getting in with the national is going to be pretty much impossible. They want companies that have boots on the ground in many different locations. They don't want just Joe and Bob that cover 2 counties. Now, getting into a national company is a lot harder than getting in with regional companies. There are so many regionals out there, and finding a good regional can be kind of difficult, which we've talked about in previous segments. Making sure that your regional is U.S. based is very critical. Offshore regionals, they are not looking out for you at all. They are trying to make as much money as they possibly can, and it just comes with, honestly, a lot of headaches. So when you are signing up with regionals, please make sure that you are doing your research and you are getting your price sheets and you are finding out where these companies are actually from, because they will try to rip you off and they don't care, and then they will just go no contact with you. So you've done the work, you've done this, you bought the materials, and then you don't hear back from them and you never get paid. And nobody needs that or wants that. So when you look for your regionals, please make sure that you do the proper research.
I want to add one thing to this because I have been in the situations where we have been back charged with national clients, very heavy numbers, very painful numbers. Um, I've also worked with many regionals, getting into the industry. That's how you it's easier to get in with a regional than as a national.
Yes, it is.
They have a lot of workflow. They have different clients that they work for. But again, how do you protect yourself to get paid? Very key thing is that always contact your national company, by meaning of you're working for Bob's Regional, which is a apartment number in New York, in Queens, New York, or Texas or Alabama, or Florida's another great place. Google the addresses, look them up. I mean, I've seen so many regionals that are a postal box, at a postal business, and that's their address. So how can you trust that? Because remember, you are extending these companies credit. You are going to go and this week you're going to do $5,000 worth of work. Do you just walk around and hand out $5,000 to people and say, man, I hope they pay me. I hope they pay me back. How do you recomp that money? It's much easier with a U.S. based company because, again, they have a little bit more ties. They just can't close up shop and leave because it is based out of Bob's house on Main Street. You know what I mean? It's an actual business. A lot of the U.S. regionals, and there are few. A lot of the U.S. regionals are hard to find. They're hard to get into because, again, there's some drama with those too. The foreign nationals, again, they know that this is a billion-dollar industry. They know it. I also believe that some of the foreign regional companies that we all have and all did work for at one point in time really messed our industry up because everyone kept accepting lower and lower and lower and lower and lower price points. So then the nationals are like, well, hey, everybody in the country is taking $20 to do this. Why don't we just pay it? And we'll just keep all the money. If you know, you know. Look at your grass cut prices from HUD and look at your grass cut prices from a national client. It's disgusting. The industry needs to realize that the boots on the ground are the boots on the ground. Without us, nationals don't exist. Regionals won't exist. And that's the key thing. There are great regional companies. I have a regional company I've worked with for almost 10 years now. Never have an issue. Never have a problem. That's it. It's really simple. But the main thing is that the profit that company makes goes into a local economy. That regional is paying for local people to do a job, to do a processing point, to do something. Even the profit the guy makes, he's going out to the local car dealership and buying himself a car. Congratulations, great. I'm glad I was able to help. But it's local money into local products into our own economy. It is not it's not money that gets funneled from a national to a bank account in Florida or New York. Nothing against Florida and New York, or that's just where they seem to start them at. But they get money deposited, and then that money goes back to the main company in Bangladesh, in Germany, in France. There is a few that I know based out of Africa. And the sad part is that most of those overseas regionals are owned by 3 companies. They just keep recycling. Have you ever signed up with a regional company off of a Facebook ad, a Craigslist ad? You signed up with them, and then all of a sudden you get all these strange numbers from 800 different people. Like, I've never contacted you. Who are you? Oh, we got your number from a friend. Because they're all the same company. Where John you talk to for John's preservation is 2 desks down from Bob at Bob's preservation, and they're all a data center, a call center running out of Bangladesh, out of India, and so on and so forth. But the problem is, in my mind, ethically, is we are taking American dollars that are being paid by the American government, and it's going to a national company, such, which is the ones we listed. But again, how much of that money is getting paid to a regional and profit, which goes offshore, which goes to another country, instead of the money coming back into dealing with, American problems in the United States, and the profit is supporting the U.S. economy. So that's where I kind of get into is that these companies are, in my mind, profiteering from an American problem that is everywhere. But why? Why don't we funnel that money back into the United States with U.S. companies, U.S. based companies?
Right.
So again, when you pick your regional, oh, and that's another thing too, is how are you going to get your money? Let's talk about that for a minute. Because, you do have a lot of no leading contracts that are in everything. But how do you reclaim your money from a company that is a one-man operation that is basically running out of an apartment building in Delaware or Pennsylvania, wherever? But, how do you get your money back? At least with a U.S. company that has 10 employees and a $3,000 a month rent, that guy wants to pay you because he wants to get more work, moving through. A regional, they just shut down, an overseas regional, they just shut down and move on to the next company. They automatically have all the contracts already in place with the nationals, and they're back in business within milliseconds. Where John, who is based out of Pennsylvania as a regional contractor for the East Coast, he has skin in the game. He wants to make sure everything goes right. He will work with you more. So again, please watch who you sign up with, because it all comes up with who takes the job, who accepts the crappy pay, and again, if you don't take the work from the offshores, the clients will give it to somebody else. And eventually we can start weeding these companies out and dealing with an American company, dealing with an American problem. And the problem that pays American money goes back into the American economy. That's where we need to be at as an industry. 10 years ago, when you wanted to get into the business, you went on your Facebook, you went on your Craigslist, you went on your few different apps. Bob's contracting service is expanding and he needs help. So, the nationals are reaching out to him. They're trying to get him to expand. He finds great quality contractors. He's got 3 locations. So he's building volume up, and he needs those great boots on the ground to get it done. Regionals, again, they grab all these work orders, they sit on them, they try to figure it out. It doesn't happen. The clients sometimes get upset. Sometimes the clients even pull the workload from the nationals, where now that affects other contractors in the area because the regionals just want to hold on to it and maybe one day they'll get it. But again, this whole industry is an American problem with an American situation. We need to keep everything in-house, inside of our borders, inside of this country. And if you stop taking the cheap work, they'll find someone else to do it, and the whole thing is eventually, if these overseas regionals can't get it done, the nationals need to get it done to deal with the banks, the major clients, the major players. They need to have this work done. And eventually, hopefully over time, it's an American product, an American problem that has American money going back into the American economy, and it just doesn't get shipped overseas. So that's one of those things. You have to be wary of what you're doing and what you're getting. Speaking of the difficulties of a national, now here's the tip of the day. If you really, 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 really want to get with a national, you call them. You try to get into that barrier. You try to get through that, and it does take a little time. The other thing is, once you kind of get that set up and organized, find out where they need help at. So, example, they might need help at a place that might be 2 hours away from your location. It's a horrible drive. Or 3 hours from your location. It's a horrible drive. But if you can get your foot in the door, is it worth it? Is it worth taking grass cuts that's 2 hours away, but you're going to get signed on, and you're going to be able to? They're going to be able to see your work. They're going to see your performance. Can they turn you on to more work in different areas? That's one of the key things. It's one of the tricks we always found. If we wanted to sign up, we always got in the door. We asked, okay, where do you have a problem at? Where's your situation at? Oh, I have properties over here. I can't find anyone. It's 3 hours away. Can I get a little bit of a trip charge? I can take care of these for you. Oh, that would be great. And then they will literally sign you up faster. They'll sign you up. One of the key tricks of the trade. So when you go into oversaturated markets, larger cities, remember there are lots of people there. There's lots of contractors there. There's lots of work there, but there's lots of coverage. You go to the areas where they need assistance more, they'll talk to you faster, they'll get you signed up, they'll get things happening better. So again, simple trick of the trade. I will say this. We always try to find great contractors, and that is rough. The industry, yeah, the industry as a whole, especially after the wonderful the 2020 collapse of the preservation business, we all know, if you know, you know. A lot of people got turned off from that. A lot of people left the industry, and I think it did a lot of damage. There's going to be some. It's going to take time to rebuild, and that's the problem. It burned a lot of people. We have lost in this time frame of the 26 collapse, as we call it. You know, we've lost 6 figures of revenue because it just wasn't coming in. There was a lot of fraud. There was a lot of waste going on. There's a lot of issues going on. They, you know, again, HUD found a new director. They found a new processing company. They say, oh, it happens every couple years. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No. They found something out that they didn't like and exposed a lot. A lot of stuff happened within the last quarter of 25 and the beginning of the first quarter of 26, which really explains a lot of what was going on in the backside of this industry that, you know, the little things hidden in the dark closets that no one talks about. So, yeah. But, you know, it's just one of those things that you need to be wary of who you're working for. You need to make sure you document everything twice over to save your butt. And again, contracts, paperwork, documentation, period. You need to be fast. You need to be quick. You need to know what you're doing. And you need to do your research. You need to make sure that you are able to use those razor thin margins and make money. Another wonderful thing, Mary, I'll let you talk about this for a little bit too, is where else do you get money from? What other avenues? Real estate agents. We work with several real estate agents in our area. How did you find the real estate agents? Well, we go to the properties anyway. We see a for sale sign. We start talking to these agents because these agents are set up with all the HUD, with VA, with FHA, with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and all the other acronyms. They're already signed up and moving, and they handle several properties. So again, there's another great resource to finding out a different avenue, a different stream of money. But again, Mary, I'll let you talk about real estate agents for a minute.
Yeah, working with real estate agents. So a lot of these properties that are attached to a real estate agent, if the property has not been trashed out or certain things haven't been done, they usually do comparative bids. The nationals will have some of their contractors go out and give bids, and then the agents will also have bids. Agents can get work directly from the bank. They don't have to go through a national, say like MCS or Service Link or anything like that. If they know a contracting company, they can have everything done through the agent. When we go to the properties, you will see for sale signs. Call them, ask them if they need help with whatever properties they have in your area. Most of the real estate agents that we have worked with have been very nice, very eager. They're looking for great boots on the ground because it is hard to find. We have quite a few that we have worked with for a few years, and they will have properties all over the central Pennsylvania where we cover. The great thing about working with a real estate agent is you also don't have so many hands in the pot trying to take what little bit that they can. You will get paid much better through a real estate agent. Now, some real estate agents, they already have their people. They're not looking for anyone else, but it never hurts to make a phone call. Never hurts to introduce yourself. It never hurts to let them know these are the services that we cover. You may have someone to cover this property, but if you get another one, keep us in mind. I really enjoy some of the agents that we work with. Sometimes it's It's a lot better than working with some of our clients.
And that is very true. and the other one point I wanted to raise is, when you deal with real estate agents directly, they're trying to sell that property. They are trying to deal with the situation, and they know they're going to get a much better product from you, boots on the ground, than they are from a company which is sending someone 8 hours away, because that's the closest person they have. Perfect case in point. We worked on a piece of property. Didn't really do too much, cut the grass, did some minor basic stuff. Eventually, it transferred to REO, which is real estate owned, so it's basically bank owned at that point. A national company got sent out to do the trash out. They did the trash out. Real estate agent came back a week later to verify that the work had been performed by the national company. And lo and behold, the company, the subcontractor working for the national, took everything out of the house, put it in the trailers, and then dumped the trailers underneath the carport. The real estate agent took pictures like, hey, your guys didn't complete the job. Click, click, click. Here you go. The national company basically went to the bank and were like, oh, yeah, no, by our pictures, you see everything in the house is empty. You see the trailer's full. So someone must have came here and dumped this deliberately. And it's so funny because the real estate agent was just up in arms. And there was this red box of some kind. And literally it is in like several of the pictures there in the living room during, pre-trash out. And there it is sitting like right on top, like a beacon on this pile of garbage in the carport. And he's like, look, this is the same thing. And the client, the national client's like, no, you're wrong. Someone came in and dumped all this deliberately. And the bank paid for a second trash out. This is what hurts our industry. Number one, it's the money that we should be getting paid. We're not, because HUD, FHA, VA, and everyone else have not updated their price sheets whatsoever. We have inflationary issues also. We're not going to get into that. As Mary said, there's too many fingers in the pot.
Way too many.
Fingers, and you have companies. We worked with one regional once. Come to find out that, the job paid $100, paid more than that. We'll just use that. The national client was taking their 25%, so there was $75 left on the table. They were trying to convince us to go out for literally 10% of the money. It's like, wait a minute. So by the time it's all said and done, I'm getting like 10% of the value of the entire job. Everything else is being eaten up by other companies. Are you kidding me? No, thank you. We're good. Guess what? They found someone to go do it. They did indeed. And they went and did it. They did indeed. And then we got contacted by the client to go fix it. And we did. Indeed. So, it gets into that too. So much waste in our industry, so much waste because of always trying to find the cheapest person to do the cheapest work. And the only ones that get hurt in this are the neighbors. Because the client, the regional found a company to do the roof and paid them $40,000. The roof was done in a way where it literally was junk from the moment they laid the first nail, and now the house is a mold infested. I want to use a certain word, but I can't. But it's done. I mean, the house literally is junk. They have to literally dispose of the house. They have to tear it down. They're going to have to do a full rebuild. So again, when they try to sell it, that affects that price. And then again, you have that property in the neighborhood. You have these beautiful houses that everyone takes care of. And then you have that house, And it's all because of some regional wanted to take all of the money and pay a fly-by-night situation, the least amount of money they can, and they took it. So there's enough problems with the industry. Get paid from the right people. Make sure our money that our government is reimbursing is going back into our economies. Period. We are working on American issues. Let's stick with American companies. Period. And eventually, if we all say no, we are working for American-based companies. We're a regional. You want to drive by the office? I'll buy you a cup of coffee. You know, we can have a conversation. Can you do that from a data center in Bangladesh? Do you want to give these people $5,000-$10,000 of your time and money? Make the change. Make the change. And that's the best thing I can say. Because once we all get our heads together, the industry will change. And once we say no, the industry will change. At the end of the day, if any one of those nationals can't get the work done, the bank's going to go to somebody else. And again, if they can't get it done there because we all say no, gas is $4.50 a gallon, lumber prices up, locks prices are up, lock boxes are up. I need more money. You don't want to pay for it? No problem. Have someone else do it. And when they can't find anyone, they will figure it out. I've been in this industry a long time. I've made millions of dollars in this industry. And where it has become now, we need to affect a change. And that, I think, is what we are trying to do with our little podcast, with our little show. We're trying to grow. We're trying to reach out. We're trying to network with contractors like you watching this, or even some people that are wanting to get into the business, some people that are looking to expand their lawn care business or their handyman services. This is a wonderful industry. There's no advertising. Trust me. All you have to do is say, I'm available, show some good work, and you will get more work than you know what to do with. Trust me, we know.
It's there.
Yeah,
The
actually,
work is there.
and it's true. Mary, you want to explain the email that you got from one of your clients? Love this story.
Oh, yes. Very proud of this. It's my first one. So one of my national clients sent me an email this past week. See if I can remember correctly. I believe it was the Fannie Mae head of operations at their company, I believe. But he was out running around Pennsylvania, doing QCs, checking to make sure that the contractors are doing what they're supposed to be doing, QCing different properties. And out of 2 or 3 days, one of the properties that he inspected was one of ours. And he said it was the best grass cut that he had seen out of all the properties that he saw during that 2 to 3 day inspection. So receiving that from a client because you have to imagine how many different properties he's been to and seen over a couple day period. So it makes me very proud of my teams to know that, they see the work that you do. And now because he went out and he saw, that we do such a great job, they are working on giving us more work because that's the kind of work that they want to see. That's the kind of outcome they want to see to make these communities look good, make you proud of your community, make the neighbors happy. So yeah, that was a very special thing. And I let the teams know and they were happy. So yeah, that was nice.
We had another phone call with one of my national clients, and he was the same thing. We strive to do a little bit better. We try to do a little bit more. We weed whack a little bit better. We make sure the repairs are done not only correctly, but better. And at the end of the day, even areas we don't even cover, we are one of the top 3 contractors in the state. I'm like, well, what about Pennsylvania? He's like, yeah, your numbers are good. You even dominate those people too. What about Pittsburgh? Yeah, you dominate those people too.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even cover them. It's like, yeah, you're still good. I'm like, okay. But at the end of the day, remember, you do not work for banks. You do not work for regionals. They simply pay you. In our industry, we work for our neighbors. What do you mean? The guy that just bought his $395,000 house or $500,000 house, he worked his life to save money for it. Okay. Across the street, something happens, a disease, a divorce, a disaster happens, and the property goes into a pre-foreclosure status. Weeds are growing, grass is 3 foot tall. The cats or the dogs that were in the house just get chucked outside and now they're strays. That guy has to look at that house. That guy has to go out in his car and smell that house. Those are the people we work for. Those are the people we're trying to assist. those are the people that, that take pride in their home and home ownership to make sure their house looks good. And then next door is grass 4.5 foot tall, and the last company they sent in just blew it all over his yard, and no one cares, no one's listening. Or he's got to worry about the snake that's now coming from the pre-foreclosure house going into where his kids are, or the rats that are now infesting his house because no one cleaned up, no one checked the refrigerator to open up to see if there was food. No one documented, no one did these things. They didn't open up the cabinets to hey, it's full of food. We need to get this dealt with. Those are the people we work for, are those neighbors, because they have to deal with it. They have to deal with it all the time. Another funny phrase, it looks great from my house because it does, because I don't live here. But, that neighbor's got to deal with that situation. Yeah. So do the best job you can, work for the money, we deal a lot with volume. We deal with high precision, in and out, move quick. We know how to shave the corners and still do a great job. We're not there hanging around. We're not sitting there playing on our phones. We're not sitting there, looking around the neighborhood, seeing what's going on. That truck goes in park, stuff gets unloaded, you're rolling. Get out, get it done, move on to the next, because the work is always plentiful. Like I say, I've been in this industry for years and years and years and years and years. And beside COVID, that screwed up our business, which screwed up every business. And then we had the great crash of 26, as I call it, which is the preservation industry, where, like I said earlier, HUD kind of revamped itself. I've never not had work beyond Christmas Day and New Year's. You know what I mean? So the work is there. Find the training, find the information, get signed up with a high quality American-based regional, get it set up, get it organized, go make some money, go have fun, and go do a beer can house and send me pics. So that is where the industry needs to be at. The industry needs to be American-based. So with all that good stuff, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap the show up here today. I hope all you guys are getting all this information and are using it to get your first job. And we'll be sharing more information about the property preservation business next week. So be sure to tune in then. If you have anything that we've been sharing that helps you, please like this video, give us a comment. It really helps us out. Also, follow us at Property Pres Insiders on social media and our website at propertypresinsiders.com. All of today's notes, the more about the beer can house and everything will be on our Facebook group. So join our Facebook group today and be part of our discussions about all aspects of the property preservation business. And until next week, we will see you then.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for spending time with us. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to follow us and share it with your friends. Got questions? Go to our website, propertypresinsiders.com, and join our Facebook group. We'd love to hear from you.